just never held right.
You know, I think James might have some experience with this still too. He's a contractor.
Good point.
We could just Facebook it.
That's true too. We could definitely get some quick assessments like that. You know what I mean? In the actual field. Because the only thing I would be worried about as a designer would be like the real extremes. You know what I mean? Why is this button like that? Is it because Tom can hit it right away? More or less like, oh, let me find that button like right here where, you know, things like that. You know, maybe that's why it is. Maybe they did figure, well, this thing falls, you know, this is the top, this is the bottom heavy, you know, it'll definitely, there's more likelihood that it can flip down like that.
Yeah. If we're talking safety-wise, you know, this thing, if it turns on and if it doesn't hit, say it doesn't hit like that,
sure,
it goes all over the place. It has an on switch, so it doesn't turn on unless you turn it off. But if it's more like a trigger, like the drill is, then you can actually incorporate it into the side where if you only use it one way and you just press it and it'll just turn on. You let go, it turns off. So it's a dead man switch, you know. It turns on right when you let go.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know how this one fits Rotozip is you actually only hold it one way.
Right.
If you hold it the other way, then it's gonna flow air.
It makes more sense now why that vent is closed or where it positions the air.
So if you put that trigger handle where your hand's always gonna be, then it's gonna be fine.
On both ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Where the right finger can hold it and the left hand can hold it.
So right when you let go, it turns off. So
that's really good because one thing I've been reading about this is whether that is, if you would have told me that they've been using it with no handle and then the hand goes on top, I'm like, well, okay, now I understand why the vents are on the side, not on top, because like this one, obviously you can't use it like this because the vents are actually sucking in and they actually like the idea of blowing air down. So this machine, it makes more sense that, well, no one, you'd be dumbass to put your hands on top of here. That's where you put these really nice, kind of expensive handmade wooden handles on this.
that makes you want to use it.
Right? One thing too that was eye-catching is why they use wood.
Because it wears down to your palm. Remember how he's talking about how things will age with class?
Right.
At least with the wood, it's going to mold to your hand as you use it.
Okay. So that, and also it's kind of like, well, why not use something so nice like that?
Yeah.
Why not?
Really
why not let your hands touch something actually really nice?
It's an indicator that your ants go there.
And
based on the material.
And like you're saying, maybe to the owner, it's more like, hey, I got a good class. You know,
it's an interesting contrast for a tool too, to have like all like you said, all that metal, and then you got that wood
nice
handles there.
Finish, you know, I don't know what kind of wood this is, but this is a really nice finish. You know what I mean? This is actually something
It makes
that
you feel like you're owning something that's really expensive.
Yeah.
A high quality tool that's going to do your work for you.
You know what, I see this in the setting of a carpenter's, you know, professional shop. Something up there is like, whoa, that's actually made out of wood. You know, but he uses that for his beautiful artwork or beautiful, you know, craftsmanship that he does. This speaks a lot to someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This, I actually, if somebody dings this, I'm going to be pissed. You know what I mean? This is something that's like, you know, I know it's going to last, but I would like to see it last so well. With this, I'm actually kind of, I don't even mind. It's not even mine, and I don't mind throwing it around. You know what I mean? This is not mine, but I feel like I should take care of that.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like someone would yell at me for damaging that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, for being a little rough with it. This is kind of like, well, whatever. You know, maybe it's the color, maybe it's the rubberish, you know, that whole, I don't care, toss it, you know, toss it in the back of the truck, toss it in the toolbox in the garage, you know, yeah, whatever. But maybe that's why that thing broke. You know, maybe that's why this eventually loosened up. And, you know, not to speak of this yet because this is still working fine, but who knows? Maybe this little clip will break off because you get that in the wrong spot.
That or that tab where it already looks like it's fatiguing, but I mean, I can't tell if that's dust or plastic.
The fact that all this is only being handled by these two clips, that kind of sucks. Where here, you kind of have that Rams, you know, 606 shoving system, where it's a whole entire thick thing held by one little piece. You know, it's got this whole entire area clamped on together, holding this entire piece like one thing. So imagine that this is the wall setting, and this is the shelf, and it just goes on by that. But now with two, that's some pretty crazy durability right there.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of having, you know, threads, there are some newer things where you could just push and twist maybe once or twice, and you have enough compression as you do this. There's some much more newer buttons out there, screws availability that we could definitely use. Opposed to this, you know, it's functional, nonetheless. It's just, how long is that going to last before you want to throw that away? You know what I mean? This too, no idea how to use this one. You know, Vince?
Yeah, it's the circle cutter.
This is circle cutter?
Yeah, you would plunge a hole like this, then there's supposed to be another screw that goes in to the middle area. And so when you have that screw in there, and it screws in like that, the tool rests in here.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to cut a hole, first of all.
And then you would be circling around, or I think I've seen the guys actually hang on to the tool and they would just rotate it around the pivot point.
Oh wow, okay. So that would create a perfect circle.
Supposedly.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory.
Assuming that this doesn't slide.
Right. There's I think another nut that would actually go up on the underside of it. That would suck, but I think it's missing.
Interesting. Okay. That's pretty wild. Yeah, you're right. Hitting that already?
Yeah?
Yeah. Now I can't wait to take that thing apart. I want to see what's in that.
Well, we got like how many half hour? A little more, half hour, 40 minutes. Should we go upstairs or start pulling it apart down here? And
it doesn't really matter. We don't need to go upstairs.
because it's not like we won't have a tool to still analyze because we still have the other one that's working.
Thing too is the vents on this one are open all the way. You know, they got a little bit more curvature to it, but that could be just aesthetics. You know, to kind of give it that kind of cool flow. You know, because that's a little bit more straight. You know, you got that kind of old school linear shape to it. You know how you have old cars where they got really straight lines, like Cadillac, Lincoln.
Yeah.
You got that real linear shape, gives you that old school look. You know, but nowadays we have these kind of cool curves. Kind of speaks more to like it's more modern, more flow. But does it really help the flow of the air? I don't know. That kind of makes a lot of sense to me when we got that vortex going on, which is really cool.
Yeah.
That made a lot of sense, and especially when you said it goes on top, and all of a sudden that one angle is not facing your face anymore. You know,
Right.
it's not hitting your face or your body. It started creating this cool vortex blowing it away from you. So all of a sudden that became a smart design.
I think probably then like one of the biggest issues is the lack of communication
Between
from
you
the
and
tool.
them, yeah.
Like even if the manual says it, I doubt anybody reads the manual. I have the manual. I've never once opened it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the notion, you know.
Yeah, you got one switch and a chuck. It really shouldn't take you too hard to figure out how to use it.
But there is that notion of like, you know, when guys get that new product, I know how to use it. I got this intuition going on, you know. And then you got some others that no. Guys or girls, these guys, you know, I don't know. I've never used this before. They studied this up like crazy. And let's say you come over and be like, dude, I'll show you how to use it. Never used it. No, that's pretty simple. Come on, it's pretty straightforward, you know. You kind of get that attitude going on. Oh, you figured it out?
Yeah, I think that's well, it's missing a nut.
Yeah. I was gonna see if I can find it,
But that brings up the point of what Z was saying. You lose a little nut or something. Now that whole tool is rendered useless unless you go out and buy another nut.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, did any of you guys like, you know, remember talking about any of the little issues that you remember talking about? Just write it down.
There's always snaps in place.
That's that for the place.
That's it.
Interesting. Did it again?
This goes in, and then what holds this in place is that tab.
That's it?
That's it, yes.
Is it a plastic tab or
Yes.
what?
Yes.
So definitely you can write down on the newer Rotozip is quality. You know, definitely the quality has gone down.
Yeah.
You know, at least from going, it's not necessarily going down, but it's the fact that it went from this sturdy visual metal to a, you know, some type of poly, you know.
Plastic, yeah.
You know, I don't know what the
I
manufacturing
mean, it's simple to put in, but you can just see it down the road.
eventually that's just going to be,
Now, if you add too much pressure to it.
yeah. I mean, I've been the type of guy where I buy some Duke and my intuition is there. I'm like, oh no, this obviously comes first. But really the manual said 2 pieces came off before you pick up that piece. And now I've broken some of the main joints on that. And well, okay, I'm back in the store, you know, crying my eyes out because I broke my new tool, and then once I'm